Yeah, maybe. Okay. So this is the very exalted place in Navadvipa-dhama. It is the samadhi and the bhajan kutir of our great grand spiritual master, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. Can you translate?
Says he doesn't.
Okay. Understand. Yeah. So, in our Guru Parampara, you can see the pictures on the altar. So, when we come to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, to his picture, then after him is who? Who is his Guru? Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. You remember yesterday we went to his samadhi?
Yes.
Yes. So that's his Guru, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was also like an avaduta. You know? Avaduta.
High level.
But not even identifying with the material level. Just completely transcendental. And he wore no clothing except torn cloth that came from bodies that were floating in the Ganga. Completely renounced. There's much to tell about him. So he was almost of the same generation as Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he was, after Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, then we see the picture of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. You know Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Who is Bhakti Vinod Thakur?
Also Acharya and Sampradaya.
Yes, but who is he? He's the father of who? Yes, that's right. Also Guru, not just father, also Guru. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he was living in this world like an ordinary householder person with a job, with a family, but he was the highest Paramahansa Mahabhagya, equivalent to the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, right? Direct associates of Mahaprabhu. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur, his Siksha Guru, in the line, is Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. Jagannath Das Babaji was the oldest amongst all of the associates of Mahaprabhu at the time of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And he had lived in Braj for many years. Then he came to Navadvipa because he considered, I need the mercy of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So he came to Navadvipa. There's a small book, actually. I was looking, but I didn't see it in English. It has very nice pastimes of Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. Now, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he has a title, Vaishnava Sarvabhauma, that was given to him by all the Vaishnavas in the 3 dhams, in Braj Dham, Navadvipa Dham, and Jagannath Puri. All 3, they considered him to be Vaishnava Sarvabhauma, the topmost and the most highly elevated personality amongst all of the Vaishnavas. And at that time there were many elevated Vaishnavas. So Jagannath Das Babaji was living here in Navadvipa, And then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur at that time, he was living across the Ganga. We will go to his place tomorrow in Godruma, on the other island where he used to live and where his samadhi is also there. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was living here in Navadvipa, but he wanted to discover the actual birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yesterday, we went there, right? We went to the Yog Peeth. But how do we know that that's the Yog Peeth where Mahaprabhu came? It had to be verified. It had to be proven. This is. Because you know, even to this day, there's a temple here on this side of the Ganga that is saying, no, this is the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
This?
Yeah, on this side. Yes. In fact, if we go up the road continuing, that's where it is.
Yes.
Near to Nirdoy Ghat. You know? So, that is not the birthplace. But how do we know what is the birthplace? Because, you know, every few years, the Ganga, what happens to the Ganga? Rainy season comes, lots of rain, and the Ganga floods, and it comes up, and over the centuries, you know, like every few hundred years, the whole course of the Ganga shifts and changes. So after so many years, no one understood what is the actual birthplace. Some would say, oh, it's here. Some would say, oh, it's there. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he researched old maps. He researched old shastras. He talked to the local people like this.
Oh, this is a logic.
Yes,
It's
yes.
not a spiritual vision.
It's also spiritual. It's also spiritual because it takes a spiritual personality to do that. This is like archaeology, you know, trying to find out historically what, like that. But he had to refer to Shastras because without Shastra, without the words of the scriptures, you cannot prove anything. But he proved it from the Shastras that the birthplace is on that side of the Ganga, not on this side. Okay? So then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was living on that side of the Ganga, he was narrowing it down. How do you say that? He was, you know, like he had many different evidences, talked to many people, and he was coming to a conclusion gradually. It has to be there, in that area.
Ну, то есть он все возможные вероятности как бы отрезал, и в итоге он пришел к такой определенной местности, что он сказал, вот должно быть там, где-то там, вот увидел его процесс.
So, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a Mahabhagavad Vaishnava, and he was serving Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he wanted to reveal Mahaprabhu's place. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he had a vision one evening. He was looking across the Jalangi. That's that other, where we came back last night. You know, when we get on the boat to come back to Navadvipa. And it's another river that comes into the Ganga, and we have to cross. That's called the Jalangi. It used to be called Saraswati, the Saraswati River. So he was looking across the Jalangi toward the area. In the distance, he saw many lights coming down from the sky. And there was no electricity at that time. So Mahaprabhu gave him this vision of these lights coming down from the sky. You know? And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur concluded, it must be there. So the next day, he went there across, like we went yesterday, to that very place. But at that time, it was all jungle. It was like jungle, you know. There is no houses, and But there were some little villages. Then he began to inquire from the local people. And they said, oh, we have one place. It's like a small hill. And on that hill are tulsis. And on the hill are tulsis. And every day the cows are going there. And they're spilling some of their milk there, you know. We have heard it from our great grandparents and everything that this is the actual place where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took birth in the house of Jagannath Mishra, in the house of Sachi Mata. This is the place. They told him. So when Bhaktivinoda Thakur came there to that place, then he began to feel, I have found the place. I have found this place now. Now he needed to prove this to the public in general.
That's why he was doing all the researches, right?
Yes. So then, to prove it to the public, he organized that there would be a kirtan group, a very large group, that would go on a particular day. They would go there to that very place, right? And he was announcing in the newspapers and announcing that this is the very place of the birth of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? But in order for the people to believe, even after that, he had to bring a personality like him, like Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, to prove it. Otherwise, it would not be accepted. Because Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj was, as I told, in all three dhams, all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they all revered him. They all considered him to be the topmost. So at that time, he was 140 years old. You can see photos of him, where he's all bent over like this. And he had one servant that was named Bihari. His servant was named Bihari, right? And he used to carry him, because he was very strong and tall, Bihari, his servant, his disciple, used to carry him in a basket on his head. That's how he moved here and there. So, then, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji was brought on that parikrama party to go to the birthplace. And you know, he was crippled at that time. He couldn't walk practically at all, you know. And he was 140 years old. Even his eyelids came down over his eyes. He was so old, and they had to like lift up his eyelids. When they approached that place with kirtan, now Jagannath Das Babaji, he actually jumped out of the basket and he began jumping into the air. Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana. This is the place of the birth of my Lord, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. This is his birthplace. That was what convinced everybody. Now we have found the actual birthplace. So what we see there today, like we went there yesterday, that temple and everything, it's all because of Bhaktivinoda Thakur research and Jagannath Das Babaji verification. You see? So, in his pranam mantra, I'm telling his Sanskrit pranam mantra when we pay our pranams to him. Gaur avir bhava bhumestvam nirdeshta sajjana priya Vaishnava sarva bhauma shri Jagannathaya te namaha. So, Gaura avirbhava bhumestvam. So, avirbhav means appearance place, Avirbhav. That in Sanskrit, Janma, birth, means Avirbhav, the place of his appearance. Gaur Avirbhav Bhume, the place of the Avirbhav of Gaura. Who is Gaura? Lord Chaitanya. Gaura, Gaura Virbhava Bhume Stvam. Tvam means you. We're praying to you, O Jagannath Das Baba. Gaura Virbhava Bhume Stvam. Nirdeshta. Nirdeshta means he has indicated. Nirdeshta means he is the one that indicated. He is the one that declared, made the declaration. This is the birth. Nirdeshta. So Gaura Virbhava Bhume Spam Nirdeshta. You are the person who finalized, who gave the final confirmation that this is the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gaura Virbhava Bhume Spam Nirdeshta Sajjana Priya. What does Sajjana Priya mean? Sajjana. All the most exalted Vaishnavas.
Yes.
Sajjana. Yes. Of all the Vaishnavas, you are most Priya, very dear to them, right? Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Jagannathaya Te. You see. So that's our pranam mantra for Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. If you hear about his life, he did so much austerity. Your 40 days of fasting is nothing compared to what he did for his whole life. You went back to normal after that. But Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj would do every single Chaturmasya. You know how he would do his Chaturmasya? He would take only one fruit, one type of fruit each month. Like one guavas 1 month, something another month. That's all, only fruit. And he would take it only once a day, right? Like that. And he would do so many austerities. But his Harinam bhajan, that was in the transcendental world. He was not in this world. He was doing Harinam bhajan continually. He took many different vows. Like yesterday, we heard about Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, that he took a vow that he would chant, 1 billion names of Krishna. And he fulfilled that vow over 10 years. Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj also took many different vows, and he fulfilled those vows. Very interesting. So, in his old age, he was living here. This was his place where he left his body here. That's why his samadhi is right here. This is where his samadhi is. And this is where he did his bhajan, here. He had one kutir.
I think it was there.
It was? Are you sure?
When I first years was coming, people were bringing me there. There is some small place.
Before they had this?
I think
The sign was here.
the sign was here. But I remember when I started to come here, they were showing me that small place. I don't know.
No, but
maybe
this is the
that
place.
was a mistake.
This is the place, and it's underneath a tree. It has a sign there, you see. So this is where he did his bhajan. There was no temple here. There was only garden like that. But he had his kutir, his bhajan kutir here. And he had his small deities. He had his deities. So, yeah, he was very powerful mystic. He did so many amazing activities, Jagannath Das Baba. So he is our great-great-great-grandfather Guru. And we offer our obeisances to him every day. We say his pranam mantra and pray for his mercy. All of our gurus are on that level.
I think for us, stories of his life with his attitude towards Dhamavasi.
Yeah, I'm about to tell that one. So, Jagannath Das Babaji, it's interesting because I didn't think of that as we were walking here. Only I was like spontaneously thinking, oh, the Dhamavasi dogs. But here's one story that Gurudev has told in his Navadvipa-dhama. So, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, I told already that when he was very old, his eyelids drooped down. So he was almost blind. He was almost blind. And he had, these dogs, like you see them on the streets. So one of those types of dogs began to live nearby. And then the dog had all these puppies that gave birth to all these puppies. And there was like eight or 10 of them, So Jagannath Das Babaji, he would be served by his servant. They would serve him his prasadam that he would take from a plate. But Jagannath Das Babaji would not eat until the puppies, each one of them, had come, and they were eating off of his plate. Yes, and he would with his hands he would count 1, 2, 3, 4, and he would not take his prasadam until they all had come, and they were eating. So the servant, it was like the servant was feeling, oh, how these dirty dogs can eat in this way, So they took away the puppies one day, and they didn't come. And then Jagannath Das Babaji, where are the puppies? Oh, they're Maharaj. We will give them something after. No, I'll not take. He would not take until they had brought the puppies. And then he counted them, and then he took. And then he told to them, he said, you should know, these are not ordinary puppy dogs. These are puppy dogs in the Dham. They are Dham-vasi puppy dogs. So he had this very high vision, because the pure devotees, they actually see the Dham. They don't see with their eyes like you and I. All of this, they see the Dham. And they see all the living beings in the Dham. You see? So Jagannath Das Babaji, that was one special pastime we used to hear about him. There was another one I'm trying to remember.
Somebody donated him some money, and he told to make a feast for the cows, I think. Something like that I heard.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
He was telling that it's better to feed the
because
true Dhamavasi rather than all the duplicates.
There were at that time there were many persons who were posing as if they were, advanced Vaishnavas. But they were giving very bad name to Vaishnavism because they were doing all very illicit activities like that. Can you tell me?
Это я понял.
Yeah. So, one time, I don't remember what the occasion was, but there was some donation that came, and then Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj said, you should take this money and you should purchase many rasgullas from the sweet shop. And then you should take those rasgullas and you should serve all the Dhamvasi dogs and other creatures. And then they were asked, but Babaji Maharaj, why not give to the other Vaishnavas? Why not? Then he explained, because they are false. They are false. They are duplicitous. You have a word? Duplicity? So he did not appreciate that they were so duplicitous and actually, but then he said, no, you give to the dogs. So, but there are many pastimes of Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj and how he went to the Himalayan mountains and he did severe austerities and chanting. He wanted to chant and do 3 lakhs every day and do this and do certain austerities. And then within a certain period of time, then attaining siddhi, you know. Actually, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj is referred to as Siddha Babaji. Because Siddha, you know what Siddha means? Siddha means perfected. Perfected. What's the word for perfected?
Совершенство.
Huh?
Достигший совершенства.
Oh,
2 words.
2 words. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to spend more time here because I'm living in Navadvipa. I'm going to come here and study and chant and pray to Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj for his blessings and mercy. I need that. Look at this nice picture of Mahaprabhu and Mother Sachi.
I love to see that.
You know what that is? That's the picture where after he took sannyas, he went to Katwa and he took sannyas, right? And then his mother was left crying. We're going to that place today where he swam across the Ganga. Nirdoy, no mercy. So when he came back, then Advaita Acharya had invited him to his house and was feeding him. And it was arranged also that Mother Sachi would be brought there. And this is depicting when they again met together. And they're weeping and weeping. And Mahaprabhu is telling to his mother, "Oh, my dear mother, I went crazy, I went mad. And I took sannyas, and if you order me, oh, then I will give this up." And then she said, "No, I can never tolerate that you will break your dharma, you know." And but then she requested, "I only want that you will live not too far away, not too far away." So she selected Jagannath Puri as the place where she could get regular news of him. Yeah. So sweet. Wow. Hare Krishna. So this is our katha for our short visit here today.
Dhameshwar.
Yes, now we're going to Dhameshwar and take darshan.
Waiting us.
Yes.